Hi, my name is Michael Nagdi. I'm a host of Prime Barrel Chronicles. We find ourselves today in front of Heaven Hill Distillery, one of the top distilleries in America, one of the very few legacy distilleries in America with very interesting history. They're one of the very few legacy distilleries that started right after Prohibition, and they are owned by Shapiro Brothers. We're here to select an Elijah Craig barrel-proof barrel, and I'm hoping it's going to be our first double-digit age statement barrel. Now, we don't necessarily go for, oldest or highest proof barrels. Normally, it's always based on the taste. I'm just hoping that the two will align and we'll have our very first double-digit barrel of Elijah Craig for all of you guys who are watching and for our premium members. So let's follow me and see what happens.
Well, guys, welcome on in. You're looking at 56,000 barrels of whiskey, all hand rolled in. Heaven Hill, we now own 68 warehouses. We're the second largest holder of bourbon in the world. We have about 15% of the world's whiskey. And I believe out of everybody out on the trail today in Kentucky, we just might be one of the only ones left that still honor all 5 American whiskey mash bills. So Heaven Hill, it's just full of innovation. Somebody said that recently. They were like, what's one of the cool things about Heaven Hill is that you do have the vertical shelf. When money's tight, we still have a great product down at the bottom, and when money's great, we have an excellent product at the top. And so we can meet consumers no matter where they are, and it's remarkable to get out here and spend some time. So welcome. That's ultimately what I'm trying to say now. So
I don't imagine you rotate those things, do you?
We do not rotate. I always tease, if somebody tells you they rotate, say, show me. Yeah, I want to see it, right? There's so much energy, money, work, I don't know.
Also a stupid question. So is there like a pronounced profile difference between like the top shelf and something from here?
Yes, absolutely. And so what's interesting, my father's a farmer. He's a garlic farmer, actually. I always joke aging barrels is just like cooking with garlic and onions. So, if you're on the grill, right, you can do slow and low, right, and it's caramelizing it. You got your barbecue going. That's these low guys, right? But, if you got more of a stir fry situation where you need some heat and some spice, that's your top, right? Those guys are aging so much quicker than what we see at eye level. And so a lot of times folks will ask, like, where's the best place to age? Well, I always say, well, the real answer is how much time do you have? If you're a new guy in the land of whiskey, you better roll it up high and get that thing cooking, because you probably got to start making money back on that. These guys are going to be in here for, anything 20 years old is all down on the first floor, So
what's the temperature difference between way up there and way down here?
Yeah, so Independent Stave, they're really the king of barrel. They got a Lebanon, Kentucky, and a Lebanon, Missouri location. And Andrew Webrink is the guy who runs that show, and he gets really into the numbers. He's done some really cool studies for that. And I think he's found there's anywhere from a 15 to 25 degree difference from the first floor to the top floor. And he's even studied like the vanillins that get released based on that. And so it's kind of cool to see his work go into it. It's a lot more scientific heavy. They found that there's a lot more pressure in the barrels in the winter months than in the summer. So today when we drink our bourbon, it will be thinner. The nose will be more alive, right, in some arguments. But you come and drink with me in the winter, I'll sell you a barrel in February when we got our puff on in here. And that's where it's like a syrup, it's like a molasses, but you can't nose it to save your life, So really kind of interesting. So you're in a very beautiful position because you're picking it right now in the summer, but it will be bottled and processed, 4 months from now, 3 to 4 months from now, so when it's a lot cooler. So kind of cool, right? So when you pick a barrel of Elijah Craig with us, we can do 2 different routes with it. We can buy it straight out of the barrel. That's how we're gonna try it. It's its most honest and vulnerable form. We can proof it down to 94 as well. So, yeah, so which way would you like to go today?
Barrel proof.
Barrel proof, all right. So we'll pick it straight out of the barrel, and I'm gonna keep you blind, okay, for the most part.
Perfect.
8, 9, 10 years of age is kind of the range. We barrel entry at 125 proof. So they go all over the place. So without further ado, do I have any other questions before we get started? I'm going to put you to work.
Let's get to it.
Sounds good? Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I thought this would be fun. If you've never cracked a barrel before, cracking a barrel is actually quite fun. It takes some blood, sweat, and tears sometimes. So when you crack a barrel, believe it or not, I mean, you really want to give it hell, and you want to hit as close to the bung. You do not want to hit the bung. So would anybody like to take a stab at hitting a bung? There we go, nice. There we go, beautiful. All right, well, come on down. I'm gonna pour this third glass here, and then we'll have three very nice bourbons here right in front of us.
We do have a system in place. It's sort of like a guideline, not necessarily end all be all, but we're gonna go left to right, barrel 1, 2, 3. We're gonna rate internally first, each one on 3 different categories: nose, palate, finish. And we rate them on a scale of 0 to 10. So 5 being an average, anything below 5, don't care for. Anything above 5, you like, to different levels. The more important part is to be able to communicate why you like one over the other. All right, let's get to it.
I'll raise a glass and make a toast. So Prime Barrel, thanks for hosting, right? And cheers to a beautiful barrel selection here in Kentucky.
Thank you.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Let's have a good one.
All right, you all want to talk about these bourbons?
Yeah, let's do that. Go ahead, start us off. So, I mean, why break a tradition?
All right, Sylvia, thanks for giving us a great set of barrels to select from. These are the kind of picks I like because there's no loser in the bunch. Sometimes you weed out and say the first 2 not so much, and we'll focus on the others. But I liked all 3 of these, 2 varying degrees, of course, and there is a winner. For me, the first barrel probably had my least favorite nose. I just found it to be light. I wasn't getting a lot out of it. I scored it a 6 on the nose, 6.5 for both the palate and the finish, a total of 19. On the palate, I was getting vanilla, caramel, oak. It was a little nutty, not peanuts, but I was getting some nut aspects to the flavor. And again, the palate was just a little bit thinner, like I found the nose. The finish, I found a little bit of maple syrup. It was long. I got oak. It had nice tannins. I liked it. The second barrel, I scored a 7 on the nose, a 7 on the palate, and a 6.5 on the finish for a total of 20.5. The nose was just, for me, more complex, and the palate was stronger as well. It was more complex with vanilla, with baking spices, sort of a candy sweetness, not quite butterscotch, but there was a sweetness in there that I was enjoying. Maybe it was toffee. I was getting baking spices on it, and the finish was just nice too. It had more developed oakiness than the first barrel did. A little bit dry, but there was some vanilla and some nice things going on. It lasted a nice long time. Third barrel, I scored a 6.5 on the nose, a 6 on the palate, and a 5.5 on the finish for a total score of 18. Probably my least favorite of the barrels. I've just found the palate was thinner and less complex, and on this one I scored the finish a 5.5. I just found it got tannic, and I just didn't like the finish on that one. So if I were to force rank them, it would be 2, 1, 3.
All right, beautiful. Yeah.
So normally the way we do this, we alternate the table, representatives,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
to speak. So who wants to go? David, want to go?
I did a little differently.
Sure.
I didn't actually give it a point score.
Okay.
Just because I go by
Yeah,
flavor,
absolutely. That's
overall taste.
That's right.
The first barrel I thought was interesting. It was very light. I actually got fruit notes on the nose and on the palate. The finish was short to medium to me. It didn't really blow me away. I thought it was very easy to drink, but it didn't separate itself. Like, it didn't stand out to me. Barrel 2, I thought it had a very dark, deep, rich nose. Palate, I thought was really inviting. Candy, to me it was almost like a rock candy sweetness. And a good medium long finish. The third barrel, I thought had a very interesting nose. Palate was very dark to me. Like, I got more of the dark flavors, not necessarily the caramel or the butterscotch I really enjoy, but it was still very dark. Wasn't very bright or fruit forward. Had a medium long finish, but then it was almost a little too heavy on the barrel char for me. Like, I got more of that tannic, not necessarily bitterness, but I got more of the barrel than I typically would want from something like that.
So if you had to force rank them, how would you force rank
So if I did force rank them, I would actually go 2, 3, 1.
them? So you kind of in line with Gary.
Similar.
Yeah.
I was more of a 2, 3, 1 than a 2, 1, 3 though.
Okay. All right.
But I tend to prefer the darker flavors
yeah.
than the fruit flavors.
I'm with you. All
With an Elijah Craig anyway.
right. All right. Okay. You guys' turn. Who wants to go? Billy, want to go? Oh, Francisco. All right, that's fine.
So yeah, barrel one, a lot of caramel, cinnamon kind of pervaded. It was my least favorite, along with I think one other person. I scored it a 6.5 on the nose, 7 on the taste, and then 6 on the finish. For barrel two, I got a little bit of red fruit. And the first time I nosed this, almost like a malt type thing. So I think that developed as I nosed it later a little bit more. This one, it was a lot. I felt like this was better on the palate and a lot stronger on the nose than the first one. So I scored this one 7.5, 7, and then a 6.5 for the finish. For barrel three. This one, I really like the nose of this one. I got a lot of cinnamon, a pretty decent amount of oak, and then I got like a little bit of orange, I want to say, on the palate. And for this one, this was kind of my second favorite. Had a nice long finish, but it just I think it was like too much. Someone else mentioned the oak was a little too much on the finish. That's how I felt. It wasn't quite tannic, but it didn't really. Didn't really do anything for me. So this one I did a 7.5 on the nose, 6.5 on the palate, and then a 6 on the finish. And so barrel one, I gave it a 19.5, barrel two, 21, and then barrel three at 20.
So far, all of you guys
Yeah, so 2, 3, 1
aligned.
for me.
Number two, yeah. Okay.
Actually, you did 2, 1, 3, right?
I did 2, 1.
Yeah, but your top barrel is the same.
Yeah.
All of you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don, want to go?
I'm getting a little scared because I'm starting to think I'm going to be aligned with Matt this time. I was going to say, let Matt go first so I can be different.
Matt says you're wrong the first time, but he's always wrong the last time. I'd rather be right the last time.
So, my experience was similar in some ways as others, but different than others. To me, barrel one, it came across as the youngest, maybe the lowest proof even. The nose was the sweetest by far. I got a ton of vanilla and marshmallow, and I really enjoyed it for that reason. But then the palate kind of fell off, and the finish fell off even more so from that. Of the three, I felt it was like the most crushable, if you want to call it that, because it was super easy drinker. But I gave it I ended up giving it a 7 on the nose, a 6 on the palate, and a 5 on the finish. So it actually was my lowest score, even though I actually really enjoyed it. Barrel 2, I thought might have been the oldest, probably the highest proof as well. The nose I appreciated for its complexity and the fact that I couldn't pick out a note from it. There was just a lot going on there. I just couldn't figure out what it was. Which to me is not necessarily a bad thing. That speaks to my lack of skill rather than the quality of the nose itself. On the taste, on the palate though, it was the oakiest for me for sure. And I got a lot of sort of peppery, white pepper and clove on the palate. But then the finish kind of dropped off for me on that one. It was lighter, but the note that I gave it was smoldering for the finish on that one. So I actually gave that one a 7.5 on the nose, a 6.5 on the palate, and a 6 on the finish. My favorite was number 3. I kind of pegged that one somewhere in the middle. I got some dark fruit, even plum on the nose on that one. On the palate, I got some oak, but I also got some baking spice and particularly cinnamon on that one. And I kind of really liked the balance of the palate on that one. And then for me, the finish on that one was definitely the longest. It covered my whole tongue. I didn't get a lot of sweetness out of it. There was a little bit of subtle molasses in the background, but I really loved the fact that it just kind of lingered forever. So for me on barrel 3, I gave it a 7.5, 7.5, 7.5 across the board. And that was my favorite.
All right. So you go 3, 2, 1. That's your first rank.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right. Bill?
It's going to be interesting because on the last tasting we did, you and I were identical. You and I are identical today, so and we were about as opposite you can get. So that's the great thing about bourbon here. So barrel 1, on the nose, it hit really, really fast, and I got a lot of fruity, kind of a cherry almost off the bat with the nose. I mean, and it was right there. When you look at the palate, and by the way, on the nose, I gave it a 7. On the palate, I got the rich caramel, a little sharper than I would like. And so I downgraded that a little bit to a 6, but got a little bit of caramel coming off of that. On the finish, it wasn't overwhelming, a little bit peppery, but also gave it a 6, so I gave it a full score of 19.
What were your numbers across the board?
7, 6, 6.
Thank you.
It's like I'm calling the races at Churchill. I didn't do Keeneland for it. I did Churchill. So
Yes, I like it, yeah.
Barrel 2. The nose was good, and again, it was a really, really thick vanilla. I mean, literally on the first whiff, I got the vanilla right off, and it was almost overpowering with that. And I gave that a 7. On the palate, again, it was also a little peppery. I didn't particularly like the palate, so it was a 6. And the finish, I did not like at all. A little harsher than I'd like. It lasted longer than I like, and since I wasn't particularly enjoying it, I didn't want it to last that much longer. So I gave that a 5 for a total score of 18.
LEX.
There we go. And finally for barrel 3, on the nose, I got caramel and vanilla right off the bat, and it was nice. I came in there with an 8. The palate was smooth and pleasurable, and I, again, really didn't pick up notes per se. I just knew that I really liked it, and so 8 on that as well. On the finish, I thought it was a very easy finish, but like you had mentioned, it was lingering. It hung around, and I was enjoying this one. And so that came in at an 8, so a total score of 24. So I've got the old Chicago area code of 312.
Love it. Good job. Beautiful. That was fun.
All right, our turn. Tom.
I thought the 3 was very good, and had like a sweetness that I really like. Had that vanilla and the caramel and all that good stuff. I feel like the 2 was a little less like sweet forward and more earthy, more rich, definitely a little more peppery, stuff like that. It was still very good. Like I'd be tossed between these 2. One was my least favorite, but it was still
Very pleasant. Yeah. Cool.
yeah, it was still really good.
Extremely.
Just lighter.
Extremely.
Like you were saying, more crushable. I'm a toss-up between these 2.
If you had to force rank them, how would your force rank them? Only one bottle you could have.
3, 2, 1.
All right.
So
3, 2,
3,
1.
2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
It's my son's
So if
birthday.
I'm keeping the tally, it's 3-3, right? All right. Mr. Carter.
So number 1
Just a bit difficult.
is my least favorite.
Which one?
Number 1.
Okay.
I scored a 6 across the boards, Gary. 6 across the boards. I didn't really get much out of the nose at the beginning of it. Not much in the mouth or the palate on the burn, and I thought it had a really short finish, so I scored it 6 across the board. Number 2, I really enjoyed number 2. especially the second time I went around. I scored it a 7.5, 7.5, 7. That's a 22. On the nose, I got some black pepper, some light oaky, leathery on the nose, which I really enjoyed for this one. On the palate, I got it was long in the mouth. I liked it was burning my tongue and my lips a little bit. But I thought I had a medium to long finish as well, with a little spice in there as well. So I really enjoyed number 2 as well, and I thought it was going to be my favorite. But my favorite is actually number 3.
As predicted.
As my favorite is number 3. I really enjoyed the nose. I gave it was an 8, 7, and a 7. So that's a 1522. Got some black pepper, which I really enjoyed. It was a little spicy on the nose, maybe a little raisiny in there as well. Into the palate, I thought it was. I got some citrus out of it, which I really enjoy in the Heaven Hill products. Is the citrus on the barrel proof. It had a really good slight burn on the tongue as well that made me enjoy it. It didn't go down to the chest as well. And then in the finish, I thought it really had a nice long finish as well. A little oaky, a little citrusy as well. So I really enjoyed it. I didn't want it to go away. I think Don had mentioned I wanted really to enjoy it a little bit more, or maybe you did, Bill. Bill, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I kept going back, but I really wanted to keep drinking it. Right? I really enjoyed number 3. So if I had a force rank 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
And just for the record, Matt is a connoisseur here at Heaven Hill.
Yes, he is.
Francisco.
And also for the record, Matt and I rarely see eye to eye on basically anything. Definitely on bourbon.
I would say it's also universal. 1 is the worst, so I think we replace 1 and try something else.
Yes.
I'm getting to that actually.
Okay.
I'm getting to that. I say that I think we all agree on at least one thing, that number 1 is the least favorite. So we can eliminate that. Damn the scores.
It would be a 94 proof crushable.
Right.
100%.
I mean, so yeah.
100%. If that was a 94 proofer,
yeah,
I would destroy that bottle.
Yeah. With me prefacing by saying there's no bad sample here, right? So, but we're picking 1, so we have to make a tough choice. Between 2 and 3, I'm completely in line with everything you guys said. I'm not going to belabor the point. What I will say is this barrel is going to arrive in the fall, right? Around Christmas time, right?
November.
So to me, the biggest difference between these two is one to me is a summer whiskey, the other one is more of a fall whiskey. So number 2 has darker notes all around. To everything you guys said, peppery, like I got toffee, I got animal crackers on the nose, I got some figs on the palate. Like it's just a good fall whiskey. Like you sip it, you feel warm and good about yourself and about the bourbon you're drinking. 3 is a bit brighter to me, so like I would drink it now. Like I enjoy it better now, but I'm thinking, well, I'm not gonna have it in the middle of the summer. I'm gonna have it in the middle of the winter. So with that being said, like my choice with my force rank would be 2, 3, 1. And Gary, I can give you scores, but I don't think it matters. So
no, because we didn't get numbers from a couple of people either.
I would be happy with either one, honestly. And I agree with everyone behind their sentiment why they picked 2 or 3 as their favorite. I'll be happy with either one of them. I do know something about these 3 that most people don't, which I'm not going to disclose just now. But just in terms of the age, because I cheated a little bit. But
it's not cheating; it's creative problem solving.
Yes. But but I agree with you. Can we try maybe something else?
Yeah, absolutely. We can absolutely replace number 1.
So we can do one of 2 things actually before we move on. So we have a hung jury essentially. We have 4 and 4.
Yeah, it's 4 to 4.
Yeah.
If you did weighted, 2 is beating 3 out by 1 point.
So we could do one of 2 things. We can do a blind round, double blind. So we kind of turn away and then you pour fresh samples and you don't tell us which one is what.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then we just hold up the hand with our favorite. We can do that to kind of figure out which one of the 2 we like the best. And then maybe we'll try another barrel.
Yeah, does that sound good? All righty. You all want to hop back over here? I got your blinded ready.
All right, so on the count of 3, hold up the hand with your favorite one out of it. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. So count them all.
Okay, so top. Which one are you? Top. Okay. Bottom. Okay. Top.
Bottom.
Bottom. Top. Bottom. No.
Again 4-4.
Get out! Everybody get out! Right.
All right, fine. I almost want to, at this point, unblind them because that might sway some opinions. But before I do that, if we're going to taste more, we might as well unblind them later. Because we might find something that we like even better than these two.
How many more are we going to do? So
Well, let's do one more because I do worry about palate fatigue. You know what I mean? At some point they're all going to start tasting great. You know what I mean? Yeah, right.
Except for number 1.
So I have one that I think will be a great contender to the number 1. So if you have your first
Contender or challenger?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes. So let me, that's the only downside to this cold water is it mixes it. Okay, so if you got an empty glass on number 1, let me grab that. So here's number 1. This is the new number 1. Alrighty.
Oh my God, wow. I like this the best. To me, this is a more tame version of 2. It's a more like gentle version of 2. 2 was more like robust. So we can either do it again, and I can help Sylvia, so like there is no shenanigans. Huh? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, 2 over 3 all the way.
Okay. Which is my vote too. But
3 has a little bit too much back end heat that I'm not crazy about.
I think I
yeah.
was too.
Back and barrel cars, like it's just not a bad thing.
It was the oakiest one.
Yeah.
Yes, it was the oakiest one.
And
Yeah.
if that's what
It was the
that was the winner.
It was the most savory one of the bunch. It was the savory one. The
What
other
were
one was
you?
more brighter.
2, yeah.
So it's just a preference thing at this point.
It's that heat, it creeps up. I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah.
2 had more sort of peaks.
Yeah,
So I mean, all right. So
You said
let's, hold on. Let's.
Partly on number, depending on partly okay.
Give me number 6.
Time out. All right. So I'll tell you this. Let's unblind. I think that will help. Let's unblind. Let's see. What was the proof on number 2?
Okay, yeah. Let's walk through all of it. Yes. So, we're in a battle between 2 and 3 here. So 2 is a 10-year. It comes from O Warehouse. It's a 4th floor barrel from O. It's 128.4. So it's always a fun, gentle reminder that we do barrel entry at 125. So you're talking about something that's gone up a little bit in proof. Yeah. Yeah, it's, for especially considering 2 and 3, as we've discussed, and 3 tend to have more heat. The irony is that 3 is lower proof than 2.
I'm not surprised at all, actually.
3 is a 125.5. So I will give 3 its credit. We do barrel entry at 125. So the fact that we've come and knocked on this barrel almost 10 years later, and it's exact same proof that we put it in at. Well, it's 9 officially today.
So 3, which was your number 1, is 9 years old.
3 aged at S Warehouse here on our campus. It's another smaller warehouse, 5th floor.
Yeah. It will be barrel at 9.
Warehouse O is also here.
Actually, that's a good point. Let me ask.
They're 2 of our more traditional style, older warehouses that are very iconic for Heaven Hill here on our property.
One very important question. So the 9-year-old one, when does it turn 10?
Yeah, let me check out its birth date. Yeah, January. Yeah.
Can we wait until it turns 10 to bottle it?
I mean, technically, it would then show up in. And you all, the rest of you are not in a rush?
No, they're not.
Okay.
No, but they're not either because we're going to have another Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Yeah.
Before this one.
Right. Yeah. Do you want it? Do you want to do 3?
Do we want to do 3? Who wants to do 3?
I'll pass.
Okay.
I will defer.
All right. So we have 1. Number 3. Barrel number 3. That was your favorite one.
That was my favorite.
So we have 2. Who else? Number 3. Okay. Francisco, that was not that was your favorite? It was 2. All right.
So 3
David?
people want to do 3.
2. So we got 4 versus 3 versus an independent. Okay. Let me ask you this. Between 2 and 3, which one would you go with?
I can live with 2. I'm fine with 2.
So then 2 it is.
All right. Are we good?
We're good?
So
Fair
traditionally, what we like to have you all do here is sign your barrel. So you put all your
Yeah.
names on it
Hell
and
yeah.
hammer in the bung. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go. All right, let me get a photo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then let me get the pano. So 1, 2, 3, hold still. Perfect, yeah. Gentlemen, this ends our time in H1.
What a day. You guys seen the trials and tribulations we just went through. Hung jury, 4 against 4. Double blind, hung jury again, 4 against 4. Another barrel introduced, doesn't matter. We still liked barrel number 2, as you guys saw. Fantastic barrel, 10 years of age, just as I was hoping for. Barrel proof, obviously, 120 plus, 128 I think it was. Fantastic barrel proof, easy drinking. It actually drinks a bit lower than that proof, so it's gonna go down easy. And it might actually turn 11 by the time it's all said and done. We'll see how that cookie crumbles. Either way, fantastic selection, fantastic group of people. What makes this experiences unique is that each one of them has a number of characters whose palates are different, and we're trying to reconcile. And through doing that, we're mitigating a risk of a dud. And so if 8 different people align on a single barrel, chances are you guys are going to like this as well. So for now, I'm signing off. Michael from the Prime Barrel Chronicles. Cheers, and I'll see you next time.